Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to another masterclass from the IPBN. Today, we are delighted to discuss IT cloud services with Carlos Justino. Carlos is the Chief Marketing Officer at MadeinWeb and Mobile and an IPBN member. And today, we will run the masterclass a little bit different, more like a conversation rather than a presentation. And we will take questions during the conversation or at the end of the conversation, as you prefer. So, just as an introduction, the world of business is changing at lightning speed. New technologies are emerging every day, and businesses need to keep pace with the latest innovations and trends in order to stay profitable and relevant in the market. As more companies invest in cloud services, it's time we follow their leads and ditch the traditional software programs for new cloud-based services. So Carlos actually wrote a blog very recently about this. And in this blog, Carlos gave 5 reasons why switching to cloud-based services is the best decision you will ever make now, today, as an organization.
Listen to. Cloud-based services.
Cloud-based, okay.
Okay, Edna, I'm going to mute you. Sorry. Okay, sorry. So we continue. Yeah. So as I was saying, Carlos wrote a blog, and we'll go a little bit through those through the reasons that Carlos was writing in this blog. So Carlos, good morning, and thank you for your time and expertise today.
Good morning to you all. I hope you all having a good start of the day. You with rain and us with sunshine down in Algarve, so
yeah,
much better than you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been raining for some time here, but that's okay. So may I start by asking Carlos, what do actually cloud-based services exactly mean, and also for the one who don't know you, to introduce yourself.
Okay, let me introduce first. I think it's better. So I've been working in digital marketing and technology for the last 12 years. Okay, so I saw like when we didn't even add the cloud services to the moment that we are now, like working majority of services in cloud. My company is initially based in Brazil. So we got the headquarters in São Paulo, Brazil. We got offices in Lisbon, Faro, and Orlando in the United States as well. We mainly provide IT services, artificial intelligence, and of course, cloud-based services. So we provide all the services the company needs to move from traditional technology to a cloud environment, so they can be safer, efficient, so they can be greener, if we can say that. Yeah, like the new trend to be a green company.
Yeah.
So cloud provides you all that. But let me explain a little bit what cloud service is really about. Okay, imagine like for many years we had huge servers inside most companies, and smaller companies, of course, they never been able to afford to have huge servers inside their building or their office. So they had to buy the service from someone. So we mainly what we have in common servers or traditional services for like I need to have a server near my location. So in the end of the day, if I'm in a city like Lisbon, for example, I need to have a lot of servers around Lisbon to offer that service to everyone. So everyone can like send their data to be stored, they can do backups, they can use many services. When we talk about cloud services, the first thing that happens is I no longer need to have like servers around Lisbon. I can use a server that is in the United States, for example. My business is in Lisbon, but my data is stored in the United States. That's just an example. And of course, when we talk about that, like having everything based on a cloud, okay, we send the information to a place that doesn't have any physical location. When we talk about that, that means that the access becomes cheaper as well. And we'll go through all that kind of things as we go on. So we'll be talking about that is the safety, cheaper from apart from compared to other services. How can it be played around the sustainability and stuff like that? But I think I'll explain in details what kind of services we can use, like in a small business, a medium-sized business, because that will be easier. I think some of us already use some of the services and we don't even realize that. Like right now we are like on a Zoom meeting that is a cloud-based service that we are sending the recording to the cloud that then you can have access to it later on. So we are already using without even knowing.
So I mean, you mentioned them already a little bit here. So in your blog, you mentioned 5 reasons. I mean, so maybe we can go through some of the reasons you mentioned in your blog in more detail. So you mentioned that clouds improve efficiency and collaboration, access to your data from anywhere, data protection, storage, and security. So can you tell us a little bit more about each of them, if that's okay?
Okay, so when we talk about efficiency, that's a very important point. Like for example, like we're going back, I mentioned that my company is based in Brazil. 99% of people that work for us, they are in Brazil, and I'm here working in Portugal. So imagine if it was like old days, how would I get access to all the information that is being done like during the day? We have hundreds of people working there. How could we have access to all that? So when we talk about efficiency, the first thing is like when we work with a cloud-based service like Google G Suite, for example, or Facebook Business or Microsoft, we have everyone working in the same environment. Like an example that I can give is, for example, during the day, I'm working on my Google spreadsheet or my Google Doc. And when I need someone to give me some advice or work on the same thing that I'm doing right now, the only thing I have to do, I send a link to them and they instantly come into my Google Doc, for example, and they start working on it at the same time as me. And as I'm editing my doc, I can actually see them editing as well. And we have a chat box on the side that we can talk about what we are writing and discuss things further on. And at the same time, I use another tool, for example, that is actually based on cloud as well, that is Discord, where we keep a conversation going on in like a chat room that we got video, we got voice, we got like a WhatsApp, for example. So when we mention that, we automatically see an improvement in our efficiency at work, because we don't have to download the document, send it like in an email to someone, then that person receives it, download it again, edit, does the same thing and send it back to you. See how much time do we spend, like every time we need to adjust something in a Google Doc, for example, that would take forever. So when we just send a link and they can edit in real time, that improves the efficiency a lot. The other point that you mentioned was working like around security. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Carlos, on the efficiency, I think, you know, also now that more and more people are working remotely, you know, that's, well, every reasons that you are mentioning is also, you know, the security, the data protection, but also the efficiency. Now that more and more people are working remotely and you know, remotely individually, but also as a team, to go into the cloud will be even more important.
Yeah, I think that's not just a matter of being important, it's mandatory, because if you're working remotely, and we saw that at the beginning of in 2020, when COVID started, like no one knew what to do about it, because suddenly everyone had to work from home, and we still had to keep things going. That we had like a schedule to meet, we have like objectives every single day to keep up with. And that became like a huge problem. How can we make everyone still working with the same speed, with the same efficiency as they was doing before? And of course, when we talk about cloud, like I mentioned, of course, you need 2 or 3 different softwares to make that happen. But I'll give you an example of some that we was working. We had like a Discord for chat and conversation. We had Google services do all our work. We have, for example, of course, Zoom, Meet, so we can keep talking to everyone during the day as well. At the same time, we had to add time tracking tools as well, so we could, when someone started doing a task, they could set the play on the task that they was doing, so we could actually record how much time would they take to do that task to see if they was being productive or not. So apart from that, we had to start work with project management tools that was on cloud as well, so everyone could get access to all the tasks that they need to do and keep track of the projects. So of course, you cannot only do it like with one or two softwares or one or two tools. You have to have a set of tools that can help you work online. But then again, like when we look at that, a lot of companies, even now that the pandemic gone, they still working remotely. They chose to keep their staff remotely because it can still be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
You can still keep track on everything. We have tools, for example, for those that are not so keen on working and not so efficient. We have tools that we can actually see when they stop the mouse. So if they are working and they stop their mouse for a long time, we get like a message saying, "Oh, so and so stopped the mouse 20 minutes ago on this page," and we actually can see it. So see that it improves like that. I won't say controlling like what's happening, but actually being aware of what's happening in your company as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just giving little examples because, of course, we like to enterprise level that we got so many other things like that we can work around, like on cloud, and have people working from everywhere in the world. There's some companies today that actually know some of the owners of some of these companies that they don't even have an office anymore. Everyone is remote. So
no, absolutely. So some of the other reason you were mentioning the data protection, the storage and security, which is very important.
Security is, I think, is for me, I would put it as the main concern we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see it every week. I think it was only this week that another company in Portugal, I think it was Conforama or something, that is another huge player in Portugal. They've been attacked and they got like the data from everyone that was on the main database. It was stolen. So now they're asking for money to give to not release that information to the web. You see, and why did that happen? Because they still have like a traditional server like working in their company. So automatically they didn't have the same security as a cloud server. Because imagine, it doesn't, even a company like Conforama that is quite big, but they still have like limited resources in terms of cybersecurity. But if you put all your information on Amazon, Google, Microsoft, for example, these guys, they work around security. So they spend millions every single year to keep it as safe as possible. Google, for example, he actually pays anyone in the world that can find a gap in their security. So a few years ago, there was actually, I think it was a 16-year-old kid that they paid $1 million because he found a way of putting a virus inside of one of the Google softwares. And the reason they did that is because they actually want you to find vulnerabilities. They want you to find gaps in their security so they can keep it safer and safer. Conforama, for example, they wouldn't be able to pay $1 million for someone to find a gap in their security. They wouldn't be able to do that. So if no other reason will be good enough for you that are listening to us right now, I think this security would be, I think, the one that would make you move to cloud-based services, because we are living in a moment that should concern us all in terms of security. Portugal is the playground for hackers, and when we say playground, it's actually the playground because they train here. Then they see if they can actually do that ransomware attack. They can retrieve data, so then they can go to bigger countries and do the same thing. Because we're not right now. Of course, the government is working on it, but right now the government doesn't have like a lot of cybersecurity laws and protection going on. They're still working on it. So it's like at this moment in time, we are not the safest place to have our data stored at. So it's something that should concern everyone. Okay. So
okay, but then talking about that, I mean, you gave the example here for the security. I think most of our guests today, they are small and medium-sized companies, and our members are small and medium-sized companies. What about if you want to use all those services and be and have protection, and also the storage, there is a cost involved, isn't it? And I think that's maybe one of the reasons people are not really moving into the
it's
cloud.
actually cheaper than it's a lot cheaper than you having a local server. That's the thing that, and I think that's something that a lot of people think straight away. Look, if I want to invest in a cloud server, for example, that will cost me a lot of money, and that's not actually true. You can actually have, for example, I store my websites in Hostinger, HostGator, SiteGround. They are cloud web based servers, and they cost me 50 euros per year, 60 euros per year. It's nothing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then when I use my Google Cloud environment to work on a daily basis, I think I pay 6 euros per month to have 100 gigabytes to work on. And of course, I don't think many people would need 100 gigabytes to work every month, because it's a lot of storage. So you see, of course, when you start adding up a lot of tools, it does become a little bit more expensive. But for the majority of us, like small businesses, they don't need like a software for you to talk with your team. They don't need a project management software. They don't need majority of these things. So they can have like a small stack of tools that will allow them to work, like having a cloud, a Google or a Microsoft, just to keep things going. They can have like one CRM that already has like marketing tools integrated into it, so it's cheaper to work as well around it. So we don't have to go expensive. And in fact, it's actually a lot more expensive for you to buy a local server than for you to buy a cloud server. For example, if you till a couple of years ago, like companies that had to buy local servers, they would pay more than 1,000 euros per month. And that same thing, you can have it online on a cloud server for, like I said, 60, 50, like bigger ones are 100, 150 euros per month. So
yeah, I mean for small companies who are not in the tech, I mean, if you are in tech and IT, you know everything about the IT clouds, and you don't need to have an IT department. But for other small businesses who don't have an IT and are not very knowledgeable with that, how can they find what to do, where what to buy, how to get into it? I mean, is your company, for instance, giving some consultancy or support for small and medium-sized companies?
Well, we don't offer support for small companies, but I would say that is actually something that is not really necessary, because we're actually living in the best time possible for this kind of solutions. Because right now, if you want to move your business to cloud, all you have to do is go into Google and type there Google G Suite, for example. Straight away, they're like, oh, let's start. Okay, let's start with a free account. You can get it set up in 5 minutes. It's so easy to do that you don't need to have any IT knowledge to actually get this done. That's a great thing about, because we're living in a time that Web3 is arriving, is becoming strong. And what that brings to us is a decentralized web. What does that actually mean is the big players, they no longer have control on what we do. So we own our own information. We own what we want to do on a web. So if we want to do it like by ourselves and buy this storage here, buy a service there, it's so easy to do that you no longer need IT provider. In the past, yes, you couldn't get that done without an IT company to help you around. Yeah. Of course, when I'm saying that, is important to understand that I'm saying that to like small companies. If you are a bigger company, then you have a lot of laws and compliance that goes around it. Then you need IT consultant to organize everything for you and help you with compliance. So it's important to have that in mind as well.
Yeah. Okay, all right. And then I think you mentioned some of them, but are there any, can you give us some examples of convenient cloud-based services for small and medium-sized companies?
Yeah, like I mentioned some of them here, like for example, Google services, Microsoft services, Facebook. Amazingly enough, they're not just a social media; they have a huge professional environment for you to work on. You have like I don't know if it's already been made available to Portugal, but they even had a collaboration tool where you could have all your workforce working inside that place. So the big players, I think all of them, they have like cloud environments that you can work on. For example, I bet that you still use Microsoft to run your Google, your docs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm a very bad example.
Yeah, and you use it offline as well, don't you? Yes. So that would be something that you could do. You could actually get Microsoft online version, like the cloud services, and run everything on a cloud. But then you still be a little bit stuck in the past because it's still hard to work on that. But if you, example, move all your operation to Google G Suite, for example, that would be like where you can get it for free, like if you use a small slice of it. But it's kind of stuff that you can do. For example, storage, like I mentioned, Google, they have storage as well. So if you inside the G Suite, you can actually have like your websites stored there, for example, on Google Cloud. You can get most of your business apps and stuff like that running inside Google, as for example. Amazon is another great player, I think. But that is I would go more like for medium-sized businesses because it can get a little bit more expensive, like when we work on Amazon. But imagine, for example, that you're running an e-commerce. You got your store, you transform your store into e-commerce. Then you would need, for example, Black Friday is coming. You need to have like a cloud server that can actually handle all that information, all that data, and can keep your store running during a big day like Black Friday. Then AWS from Amazon would be the best option for you. So like I mentioned, the big players today, they can actually, I think they all provide you these kind of services. But what you need as a small business would be CRM, like with automation tools for marketing purposes. I use, for example, a very cheap one that is Sendinblue. It's a very cheap option for like it does have like the CRM, marketing automation tools, email, SMS, WhatsApp. You can send WhatsApp messages. You can send SMS message to everyone. You can put a web chat on your website so you can talk to people in real time. What else they have in there? You can schedule your meetings. You can. It's a lot of things in just one tool, and I think it costs you, I think, for 20 euros, 30 euros per month, something like that. So you got a big stack of tools in one cheap price that you have to pay for it. So I would go for something like that. I'll give you an example of the startup that we just created, the TLC. TLC, it runs entirely on Google Cloud Services and Sendinblue. We don't use anything else right now. So I pay 40 euros per month and I can run the entire operation really safe and have collaboration as well, because we don't have a physical office yet. So each one of us is working at their places. So we need tools like that to keep them working. So I'll go for.
No, sorry.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
No, you go on. You was going to ask something.
Yeah, I mean, is there any training? Or I mean, I know you seem to say that it's pretty easy, but you know, are there some training available for people who want to use that? Or?
The tool itself, it provides you training, because most of tools these days, I don't know if you noticed that, but it's something that a lot of us just ignore when we start using a new tool. But when you first open, they go, let me show you around, and they give you like the steps. First step, you do this. Second step, you do that. That's actually something that people should read. It's like the instruction manual that we had in the past. We should pay attention to that, because it can actually help. But for example, Sendinblue. they have YouTube videos for every single thing that's inside the platform. So if you want to start by yourself, you don't need to worry. Just you start like following the steps, then you go on YouTube, you watch what they like. I'm struggling, for example, placing a web shot in my website. All you have to do is just be on a web shot page inside Sendinblue, for example, and press play on a video that will show you how to get all that set up. And I'm just giving you an example. There's many other tools around. So, and I'll say it's not because I'm from tech, but I believe that you don't need tech skills to get all these things done. You know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
You know, this is like it's like people when they start learning a new language. What's the first thing that you do is you believe that you can't do it, so you block yourself from learning that language. That's the same thing with technology. Before we even start using, we already think that we cannot do it, so we're blocking that information, so we make it difficult.
Yeah. Another point also, which I think you mentioned at the beginning, was it's about sustainability. You know, are actually cloud services a way to reduce the carbon footprint? And on that subject, tomorrow, one of our IPBN members, Ardanis, it's an Irish software developer. They moved to Porto recently, and they are recruiting quite a lot. They're organizing an event in Dublin entitled "Will Technology Save the Future?" And in the event introduction, they mentioned that data centers are responsible for 3% of the world's greenhouse gas emission, which is surprisingly equivalent to the entire aviation industry. So it will be interesting to hear your views, Carlos, on how businesses can benefit from sustainable software, software development, and also using software to promote and manage sustainable initiative, which is, you know, I can read and I can see so much more about that. You know, that there is really that connection now between the technology and sustainability.
Yes,
more and
of
more.
course. Yeah, is something that a lot of people are talking about right now. Sustainability is something that, for example, in European Union, they have a plan. I think it's 2035 in Portugal, something like that. That they have to become like a greener in terms. And when we talk about that, like I was saying at the beginning of our conversation, if I have to have data centers near my location and like servers spread everywhere, imagine I need the physical locations to place those data centers, to get those servers working. So automatically I'm getting like a lot of carbon footprint there. So we're not being very sustainable with local servers. But when you move that to the cloud, we can now work from here and have servers in the other side of the world. So we reduce the amount of data centers that are necessary to provide services to everyone. Automatically, we are becoming more sustainable. So that's an important thing. And when we talk about software development, and there is another big point as well, with the Web3 and the decentralized web, like I was mentioning before, software collaboration means that we no longer have to be stuck with the same software and then keep it going for a long time and buy another one straight away because it becomes too obsolete or it doesn't work for me anymore. I have to buy another one. Now companies, they keep their softwares on cloud and they have a collaboration like from people in the other side of the world to keep their software modern, to keep their software like innovative. And with that, we reduce the amount of work that is necessary as well. So that's another important thing. Because when we talk about software, everyone thinks straight away, yeah, but that's something that is not tangible. We cannot touch a software, but we forget that it's 100 people or 200 people working behind the software in some place in the world. Doesn't matter if it's here or if it's in India or whatever, but there are people working on it. So if we have like softwares and tools that can be done with collaboration and they keep doing innovation, and it means that we become more efficient as well. It means less hours, means less people, means that we need less technology to work that. Another big point that we are like working right now, and we actually talked about that on an event that we had in the Algarve, is the low code and no code software development. That means that anyone can actually develop a software or develop an app, because you no longer need tech skills to go there and develop something, because that's been made easier, like a drag and drop. With that, what happens as well? That means that I'm reducing again, because I don't have many companies that are using a lot of computers, a lot of stuff. They're using electricity, they're using a lot of water, they have big buildings. When we talk about software development, that's really important, because if we don't need bigger buildings, we don't need like 3 or 4 floors of IT staff working. That reduces as well. Okay. So that's points.
Yeah, I mean, I think we went through all the different reasons why switching to cloud business services is really something that all businesses should consider now. So thank you very much, Carlos. I don't know if you have anything you want to add in terms of.
No, I think we more or less covered everything. I hope that like I was able to explain well enough, and that I was actually able to help everyone that are listening to us, because I know that is a difficult topic for a lot of people, because when we start talking about technology, the first thing that we think straight away is, I don't want to listen to that. It's too much stuff. It's boring. It's something that is not going to help me straight away. But I think it's something that we all should look at. Is sustainability, for example, is not something that we have to leave for the big companies. We all have to do it. That's something that a lot of people think, it's only the big car industries, it's only the big giants like that with logistics and stuff like that should be doing their part to reduce carbon footprint. But we forget that we are doing that. We are polluting. We are leaving a carbon footprint as well. So if we can all do a little bit, then by 2030, then we'll all be a lot better.
Yeah, and I'm sure, talking about the IPBN, I'm sure there are a lot of small companies who don't really know how to get on with it. I mean, they know that they should do it, but there is, as you were saying, maybe that fear, and you need to make the jump and go into it. And maybe that's something we could help in the IPBN for some of our members. Maybe workshop or something like that.
I agree. We should definitely organize some workshops for that kind of things, because imagine, for example, if you are like a small business owner and you think to yourself, well, this is not going to happen for now. I'm going to leave it till 2030. But what's going to happen is it's going to become so expensive for you to do that move in 2030 that will take a big chunk of your business straight away.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about all the tech and IT companies that we have, of course, those companies are in the forefront, and they're doing that digital transformation and moving forward. But I think there are in other sectors who are not completely tech, but they need to use the tech. That's where I think we should maybe help them.
Well,
so
it's something that you can't run away from. So
yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants to say anything, ask any questions to Carlos. That's your opportunity now.
I just would like to say something really fast, not taking too long. It's very interesting always to hear these kind of things, and all these good tools in this different world we are living now. Since COVID, everything changed a lot. But one thing that you were saying, Carlos, that is, it's very easy to learn, it's very easy to do. And I'm always saying it's very easy for you that know all about it. It's not so easy for the ones that are learning or trying to do it. And sometimes we are looking to that little button and thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So it's a bit, sometimes having a little bit like workshops or some kind of easy training, something that can help people to be more, let's say, confident when we are doing some easy works, like you're saying, for you very easy, for us not so much. And I'm talking because sometimes I try to do something and I'm looking to the button and thinking, shall I do it? Shall I not? And sometimes it's good, companies like yours, to do some workshops or some things that we can in fact learn a bit more. Because today we have a small company, but this small company can become maybe a client for you. And if this small company starts something well done, it will be easier for you to continue the work, you know? And sometimes it's that kind of support that small companies need, because we have afraid to do something wrong. And that's why sometimes you look for some help. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying, you know, small companies don't have an IT department. And, you know, if you are not a tech wizard or tech, you know, don't have to, but, you know.
Yes, the truth is that sometimes I look at my son with 8 years old and he's much confident doing things than my son and I'm doing, you know, that's the thing.
We are the old dinosaurs.
Yes, dinosaurs.
I'll give you a tip on that. Just play around the tools, because in the end of the day, every cloud-based tool, you just press restart and you start again. So honestly, if you mess it up, if you press the wrong button and you mess something up, you can go back. That's a great thing. Like that's another thing about old software. In the old days, like if you press something wrong in a software, that was it. You had to call support and look, I messed it up. I need someone to come over and have a look at it because I don't know what happened here. It's just not working. These days with cloud-based services, you can play around as much as you like, mess it all up, and then you just restart and that's it. And you start again. And you already know what you've done wrong, so you're not going to do it again. Yeah, I do that. Well, every tool that I start using, like for example, the Sending Blue that I explained to everyone a little bit a few minutes ago, I started playing with it. I'm not the kind of person that goes and reads a lot about the tool that asks someone to give. I just started playing with it, and honestly, I messed the whole thing like in a matter of 10 minutes. Everything was going wrong. I couldn't get information going anywhere. Then I just went there and clean database, and that's it. I was playing again with the tool, and now it's working fine. So it's just a matter of not being afraid. It's being confident, like you said. It's no problem. You're not gonna press a button that is gonna be atomic bomb. So you know.
Thank God. At least.
It just restarted. It's not a problem.
Okay. Sending Blue looks like a good option for small companies to start doing some CRM. Definitely. And
they're big on that. Yeah. Right now, like for a small company that doesn't want to spend like 1,000, 2,000 euros per month on CRM and software, Sending Blue is our best option, because they got a lot of investment for big VC funds, so they are actually offering at a very low price for everyone that is starting with them right now. That's why they can charge like 50, 60 euros per month when others charge 1,000, 1,500 euros per month. So it would be definitely a good option. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I mean, maybe, you know, the idea of a workshop, just presenting those different Google services that you mentioned, Carlos, really, I know it's really basic, but I don't know. I mean, there might be some interest for some people, but we
can do something better. We can do like what in Brazil, we used to do that a lot. There should be round tables. Everyone brings to the table what they're struggling with. I need to do this and that for my business. What kind of tools would you think that would be best suited for me? And how do I get them set up?
That's a very good option,
we used to do that a lot, because the same thing that you're struggling with, probably the other people that are on a table is struggling with the same things as well. So when we teach one, everyone on a table learns about it straight away. And then the other brings whatever else they're struggling with as well.
Very good.
Okay. So that would be a good option. We
I'll
can
be
set
there.
that
I'll
up
be
in
there. You
yeah,
just
we'll do it in Tech
I'll be
Campus.
there.
For those that are in the Algarve, we'll do it in Tech Campus in Fire.
Yes,
like I
that would
did,
be perfect.
Yeah, no, honestly, we should look at that. Do a series of
Yeah.
small whatever you call it, maybe in Lisbon as well, and
yeah.
and
Yeah,
in,
let's arrange. Well, we can go through a lot because I didn't even start talking about artificial intelligence tools to do
Yeah.
all your marketing for you, because we have a lot of them. I have tools these days that writes the content for my blog, for my social media in a matter of seconds. So we have a lot to happen here.
but I think it's like a basic thing like the CRM, the sharing documents,
Exactly.
not yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think those would be great. Then we'll do a upgrade version to how to use AI to run the business for you.
God.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share, I don't know if I shared it already, but I'm going to share the blog that Carlos wrote about this as a follow-up to this, and then we'll keep everybody informed if when we organize those workshops. So thank you very much, Carlos. I'm going to stop the recording now.